Hola, everybody. Welcome to the Feminine Currents podcast. I am your host, Jordan Otten, and I welcome you here. This is episode 1, and I want to introduce myself properly and let you know who I am, what this podcast is for, and a bit about my journey that got me here in the first place. I am a former champion golfer. I worked in the film industry for about 15 years, and now I am currently a holistic therapist, evolutionary astrologer, and trauma-informed wellness coach. It was surfing, the ocean, astrology, and actually my history with golf, yoga, connecting to my body, all of these ways in which I would interact with my higher self, my spiritual self, that allowed me to arrive to my own freedom and liberation on a soul level. I have been in a deconditioning process for many years, and through this experience, I created a women's surf community called Yoni Swell. And so if you are finding this podcast on the Yoni Swell YouTube channel, you are in the right place. And this is a space where we are cultivating a beautiful, loving, compassionate relationship with ourselves and our intuition. This podcast is about the ways in which we can connect to our intuition that are personal for us, that are unique to our own energy, and what that even looks like. What is that process? So for me, I'm also wanting to share that I'm in the process of becoming a licensed marriage and family therapist. So I am a trainee from that perspective. I am accruing my hours. I am working with clients one-on-one. However, I am a ways a bit from accruing my license, and I'm so excited and I love what I do. I love the work. So my approach, my presence does bring a diverse amount of talents and gifts that I have acquired over time and that I have learned through my own experience. And so I can go through each one and share with you what it has provided for me in my life. And overall, it has led me to 100% absolutely trusting my intuition and allowing my intuition to be my guide in making choices, in healing, in taking action, in empowerment, and forming relationships that feel in alignment with my values, and ultimately creating a life that is in alignment with my values. So I'm here to share my experience and to share my offerings and to let you know that this space is available for you to simply be here. So that said, I am here to share my story because we can all relate to one another, and this is a way in which we can do so. I grew up in Las Vegas playing competitive golf on an international level, and eventually went on to the University of San Francisco on a golf scholarship. I did win a collegiate tournament. We went to the NCAA tournament every single year, all 4 years. And it was when I graduated, I did always know from a very young age that I wanted to become a director and to make movies, to tell stories as a way to create a positive impact for humanity. It has always been a soul mission for me, that vibration, that feeling of wanting to help others through the form of storytelling. And so I did that. I graduated from college. I said goodbye to the game of golf for that time period, and I got into UCLA Film School. I got my master's in film and production, and then I did have a very fruitful, fulfilling career in the film industry. However, I got to a point where on a personal level, I began to see the patterns. I began to see the same relationships show up in my life and the same patterns when it comes to money, my relationship to myself. Eventually, I realized that I needed to do some inner work, some healing on an emotional level that had to do with my early years and family dynamics, my origin of family, my conditioning, and how I learned about the world from a very, very young age. And through this process, I started to shift. And it was actually when I turned 30 that I received as a gift my first surfboard from my brother. And that began my actual initiation of my Saturn return, where the deconditioning process began. And it was through the ocean, it was through the act of surfing that I started to explore myself, that I started to actually connect with myself on a deeper level. Because the more and more I did the inner work, the more and more I would go and connect to the ocean and listen to her guidance, literally showing up through my intuition that I had never experienced before, other than certain moments on the golf course when I was younger. These are metaphysical moments that I began to experience through nature. And it was a gateway and a way in which I was able to get to know myself and to start healing and to start deconditioning and empowering myself from a whole new perspective. And I realized that I was carrying a lot of trauma that I didn't really understand logically, that I was now experiencing through my body, that I was now experiencing through my emotional body, and having no idea really where it was coming from. And it was through a very special and significant relationship that I was in that led me to paying attention to the moon cycles and the new moons, the full moons. And through this process, I started to realize that this was a system, this was a language that started to speak to me. And it was at this point that I entered into a relationship that was very deeply healing on a soul level, that allowed me to truly confront my patterns, confront my limitations, and see all of these shadow aspects of myself that went on for quite a long time. And the healing journey is actually an ongoing thing, and it can feel like a very dark experience at certain times. But it's when you connect to your intuition and when you actually connect to your higher self, your spiritual self, your relationship with spirit, the universe, source energy, where you start to realize the higher wisdom that's coming through, which is these are all parts of ourselves. These are reflections of ourselves that are coming forward to be healed, to be tended to, and to be nurtured on all levels. And so this was my own soul evolution and growth that was happening in this lifetime. And so as I started to pay attention to the astrology, I discovered evolutionary astrology. And this type of astrology is the journey of the soul. It is healing and empowering the soul on literally that, a soul level. It is a holistic view of the actual soul's journey, not just in this lifetime, because there were things that were coming up for me that did not make any logical or even sense on an emotional level to a degree. And so I felt called from my intuition to explore my birth chart and my unique energy signature through the lens of evolutionary astrology. And it was during this time, that certain transits, certain energies were happening in the cosmos. And I started to remember this system and this form of a language that I had learned in previous lifetimes. And so this is a subjective experience. These were the gifts that my intuition were providing for me as I was taking one step at a time towards my own healing and empowerment journey. And during this process, I created Yoni Swell Surf Collective, a women's surf community on a mission to heal and empower the soul. And through this community, I met some of my favorite people still to this day. And it was a community of women that came together and actually helped each other during a certain point in our lives. Through this process, it became a business, and I took that turning point, that shift, and began to gradually let go of my career as a filmmaker, and I entered into the pursuit of becoming a licensed marriage and family therapist. And so through this entire process, I have developed and cultivated, remembered these holistic modalities, such as I'm an advanced Reiki practitioner. And so I do body work. I am an Akashic Records reader. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, and I am a trauma-informed wellness coach, a holistic therapist that brings all of these diverse modalities together to create programs to help people in such a way that I needed help at the time. When we add all of these elements together, we're looking at a holistic point of view, and we're also looking at soul growth, healing, and empowerment. And so ultimately, connecting to your intuition can be a resource, it can be a guide for finding your way, for returning to your nature. Because that's essentially what I began to do, and that's what we are all doing on a collective level, whether you are conscious of it or not. We are healing and empowering ourselves as our human selves, meeting our spiritual selves. And my work is rooted in offering this and doing this in a practical way. I integrate nature. And so I integrate surf. I integrate our relationship with the ocean. I integrate golf. I integrate yoga. I integrate all of these ways that we can connect to our emotional body and our intuition and the skills that we're doing, such as golf and surf and even yoga or any of these others that you're connecting with. We actually are doing them in an intuitive way that is improving our skills, that is actually leading us somewhere where we are gaining something on a practical level. Self-trust, courage, confidence, the ability to manifest from a place of wisdom and trust versus scarcity, lack, and fear, right? So we can acknowledge that we are all experiencing anxiety and fear, and we have our moments of being in those spaces. And it's when we bring in awareness and presence through the elements, through these different modalities, and through our sheer connection with ourselves, our intuition, our body, and our mind as all tools that are helping us. It's through this process that we actually return to our nature, we decondition, and then we go out and we create a life that feels in alignment with our values, with our heart's desires. And when we are connecting with our intuition, we are embodying our divine feminine energy. And so what is that divine feminine energy? Regardless of sex or gender, we all are operating, or we all have both masculine and feminine energy. And so when we embody our feminine nature, we're actually pausing. We're learning how to actually be a human being versus a human doing. And we are allowing the internal wisdom, the innate wisdom to come through and to speak to us about what resonates with what feels natural to us. And when we have a strong and healthy relationship with our intuition, we trust what's coming through. And whatever information is coming through, we are utilizing our innate discernment. Is that true for me? Does that resonate? And when we operate from this feminine nature, we actually go out there into the world and create what is resonating with our truth and with our values and with our pure natural self-love. The masculine needs the feminine needs the masculine to go out there and create it. But the idea, the point, the truth is that we are operating from within. And so I am here to be with you on this journey, shoulder to shoulder, to speak into what this even looks like on a practical level of connecting to your intuition and integrating it into your life on a both spiritual and practical level. It's very possible that many of you are experiencing a spiritual awakening and you don't know what to do with it, or you may not have the resources available for you as a way to integrate this into your practical life. And you may not know who to even share it with at this time. There are these moments of having a dark night of the soul, which is a part of the spiritual awakening process. I personally have an entire punch card, so I know what this experience is like, and I am so excited to share the experience I have and what helped me at the time, because I am here with you, as I said, shoulder to shoulder, to bring forth this wisdom, this knowledge that we are all needing at this time. And before we wrap this up for today, I do want to acknowledge that, connecting with your intuition starts with getting in touch with your body, with the 7 chakra system. And so I actually have a free PDF and meditation available for you to download and instantly receive called Mastering Your Intuition, Letting Go of Fear. This will take you through the practical steps of getting to know your 7 chakras, getting to know what they mean astrologically and how it relates as an archetype. And it gets you in touch with the divine feminine goddess energy, which is also about the archetype and the emotional dynamics of what your 7 chakras are carrying and how they communicate with you emotionally, spiritually, physically, and even cognitively. And so with that, I want to share that our body has a memory of experiences. And the more that we can get in touch with what we are holding, we can then confront, release, and let go and heal on a conscious level. So much of this human experience is about deconditioning from where we were shamed and where we were persecuted and maybe ridiculed for who we naturally were. And so we are healing from these dynamics. We are healing from the dynamics of shame and guilt and operating from a false self so that we can embody our nature, operate with self-compassion, with confidence, with courage. And when we do this, we are actually helping each other. We are honoring our own truth, we are honoring our own presence, and then we are helping each other. And so on this podcast, I am going to definitely have different guests on here that can speak into this experience. I am going to be talking about these different dynamics while utilizing these different modalities as a way to help you and for us all to come together and help each other through this process. We are closing out a 30-year cycle. Saturn is leaving Pisces, so it's closing out its 30-year cycle of the zodiac wheel. It will be entering Aries in February with Neptune. And so this is literally a changing of the guards. We've never been in this energy in this lifetime. And this is when the new starts begin. We are in the closing cycle. We are in the closing phase. The new energy will tangibly, truly be here starting in February of 2026. And so how can we get you ready and get you prepared, feeling confident in really creatively self-actualizing what you are ready to bring in, what you are ready to call forward for yourself? That said, if something you need is meditation, right? A way to create calm and something soothing so that you can reset throughout your day, so that you can reset your nervous system. Join me on Insight Timer. It's absolutely free. You can download the app for a monthly fee, but it's not required. You can meditate with me with the free meditations that are offered there. Feel free to follow me and connect with me there. I would love to connect with you there as well. And there are so many resources. There are so many ways that we can help each other through this process. So I hope you enjoyed episode 1. Feel free to explore the Yoni Swell YouTube channel, as there will be different offshoot topics that I will bring in that can really help integrate how we are utilizing our intuition and embodying these different modalities, our gifts, our talents in both a practical way and a spiritual way. Because at this time in this stage of the game, we are all truly healing on a collective level, and the more tangible resources that we have that are available to us and that we know about, the better we are all off, right? Again, we are collectively helping each other through this process and through this very dynamic time where we are going to need systems and knowledge like astrology to help us understand what's actually happening. This is when our human selves intertwine and interact and actually merge with our spiritual selves. So that said, thank you so much for being here. I am sending you oceans of love. Again, my name is Jordan. You can connect with me with all the information below. It's all in the description. And I look forward to connecting with you on the next one. Have a beautiful week and take care.